Good evening to you. Welcome to the AFIA Sports Banter Box show on AFIA TV as usual on a wonderful Thursday. Yeah, we could say Throwback Thursday. So many things to talk about in the past, but the blast from the past is not exactly the best at the moment because Nigerians are a bit sober, especially when you talk about the world of sports. But we'll talk more about that in a bit. Welcome to the show, guys. This is the AFIA Sports Banter Box show on AFIA TV. Frequencies still remain the same. Channel 254 DSTV, Channel 748 Free TV, and Channel 17 Go TV. Welcome to the show once again. I am Sisi Emeche, popularly known as Sisi the Rabbi, and I'm not doing this alone. I have, as usual, my co-host. Of course, Banter lives here, so definitely I'm going to have to swing my axe, swing my mallet, swing my baseball bat, swing everything swingable right now. And if it happens to hit him by the side, then just take it as part of the show. He'll defend himself, don't worry, he knows how to do that. Welcome to the show, Emeka Maduka, the priest of football, failed priest of football, and of course, failed footballer in his days.
My statistics prove themselves, so okay, no problem.
Well, all the same, if you heard him mumble, there you know that we're ready to rumble. And right. We have our guest, a regular on this show and most of our shows right now, Queen Chioma Chikeze, one of the upcoming analysts who is very, very dynamic, a leader when it comes to women in sports, and also, I'm speaking prophetically. Come on, I'm Sisi the Rabbi.
Actually.
Put some respect on that name.
Yes. Great to be here. Good afternoon to you and to everyone watching. And nice to meet you again.
Okay, I just hope that the blood will flow figuratively, not literally, because this is the banter box, and we'll talk about it here. We're all here for bruised ribs, bruised eyes, and bandages left, right, center, everywhere. That's what we're all about. But all the same, we are trying to get trying to add humor to sobriety, because we need to be sober regarding what's happening right now. And of course, to our viewers, there are some developments in the world of sports, particularly football, as far as Nigeria is concerned, because the latest debacle that happened yesterday was one that left some people with PTSD. And it leads us to the first major question. It has to do with the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. I think they should be en route, if they've not already arrived Abuja by now and maybe snuck into the nation after a show of shame against Argentina under 20 yesterday. Just stay tuned and watch these clips, because we're going to see highlights of what transpired in Santiago, Chile yesterday during the under 20 World Cup, FIFA under 20 World Cup, between Nigeria's under 20 side, the Flying Eagles, and under 20 side of Argentina. Stay tuned. You're welcome back to the AFIA Sports Center, or I beg your pardon, the AFIA Banter Box show on AFIA TV. No, I was just going with my radio flow also, because we host the AFIA Sports Center in the mornings. But the AFIA Banter Box, that's how traumatized we are after what happened yesterday. So you have to forgive me for that. Really, it was a show of shame indeed. And I have to give credit also. That video was courtesy of FIFA's YouTube channel. And we saw the highlights of what happened, what transpired yesterday, where Zubairu's Flying Eagles side were handed their backsides by the Argentina side, who were on a revenge mission, after the last World Cup, FIFA Under 20 World Cup, where Nigeria, led by Ladan Boso, beat Javier Mascherano's Under 20 Argentina side. So definitely they had a mission, but that doesn't give any reason for Nigeria to fall like a pack of cards, which then leads us to the first segment of this banter box. And it's very, very clear. We've seen a trend lately concerning male football. We saw it with the Golden Eaglets in Yamoussoukro. They were bundled out in the Wafu B Under 17 Championship. And right now, they're not going to the World Cup because they couldn't make it to the semifinals. Then, of course, we saw what happened to the Chan Eagles, how the Chan Eagles were bundled out unceremoniously when Sudan, now no disrespect to Sudan, but the pedigree, Sudan thrashed Nigeria to 4-0 after we just managed a 1-0 loss to the then defending champion, Senegal. Then, of course, we just saw this latest show of shame, and we saw what Argentina on the 20 side did to the Super. I won't call them Super because they've not shown anything super about that. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria. And now, as we speak, we know that tomorrow we have a date with Destiny by 5 p.m. where Nigeria will face Lesotho in the southern part of Africa to see whether there is a fledgling chance to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in 2026 in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. So there is a recurring theme in all these disappointments that we've seen. And what is that recurring theme? male football. Male football has suffered a bit of a decline at the moment. As opposed to female football, the Falcons won the WAFCON a 10th time. So Mission X was successful because the Falcons did it. And women's football has been relatively successful in recent times. We can't say that about male football. So somebody has got to take the blame. Right now, the essence of this debate is to find out who takes the blame, who is at fault. We have two gladiators that are here who slug it out, and we're going to find out about that. Of course, as usual, in the blue corner, I don't know whether it's light blue or navy blue or no, whatever kind of blue. Or I almost said another blue right now, but I know that would have been in trouble from the powers that be. So let's leave that blue. I'm sure you know the blue I'm referring to. Then, of course, in the red corner, we have the queen. So I don't know who's going to start first. Do I do tumbon, baskelele? No, I don't think we'll do that. First. Ladies first. So,
okay.
Over to you. Who is at fault for the debacle and the disaster and catastrophe that we are seeing in male football in Nigeria? Over to you.
All right. Having looked at what has transpired since the inception of football in Nigeria and how far we have fared till this moment, I'll give the blame to the management. When I mean the management, the NFF, the body regulating football in Nigeria. Why would I say so? Earlier on in our footballing history, when there hasn't been so much attention, right? So much money in football and all. We've got brilliant players take on wear the national team jersey from the likes of the late Christian Chukwu, the chairman himself, Odegbami, and all of those guys. They wore this jersey with pride. We even saw the era of JJ Okocha and Kanu Nwankwo. We saw what they were able to do at the Atlanta 96. In fact, if you go to read the account or listen to the account of Okocha in that atmosphere, you will know that, okay, yeah, we got players who have had the desire to deliver for this nation, despite what was going on. And it also tells that the NFF has been found wanting from time immemorial. It's just that we had homegrown players who bore the burden of Nigeria as a sporting nation on themselves and deemed it fit to deliver victory for us. Back now, they have shattered and destroyed whatever legacy this man has put in place. Why would I say so? Let's go back to involvement in team selections. You cannot rule it out, whereby you see everybody is bringing their person. You know, this person is not good. Look at what happened at the Chan Eagles. The players that were used were not even players first 11 or starters in their various clubs. But because of interferences and all, they were able to do that because they will tell you, he who blows the piper dictates the tune. So they are the ones sponsoring these teams. They are the ones sponsoring these federations. They just have to somehow have a say. You come to the coaches selection. They're the one who makes the appointment. I remember Amaju Pinnick, during his era as NFF president. He said something when they were looking to ace Genero. Yes, personally, I liked the idea of letting Genero go because, he was the longest serving coach for the Super Eagles and we actually didn't get anything. The only thing we got was we always qualified for the World Cup with games to spare. That was our, like Arsenal, top 4 as trophy. That was our trophy. But that wasn't what we needed because Nigeria had gone past that stage. Okay. We listen to him. Oh, he's going to bring us someone who with technology is analyzing all our players, knowing their strength and blah, blah, blah. And he brought us Pesero. And I'm like, okay, I give up. Let Pesero stay. Let him be. Okay, he took us to AFCON. We got to the finals of the AFCON. Unfortunately, we lost to Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, yeah. And then you're letting him go. Why? You don't run football that way. Football is not a switch where you can just turn off and turn on and light comes and goes and things are just okay and normal. No, it's a process. It's a building. If you gave Genero 5 years or so, at least give this man 2-3 years to see what he can do with the national team. This is a team that you have limited time to be with, right? You have more like every month, probably 1 or 2 weeks with competitive games in between. So you really do not have time to bring these players together to know their strength. So staying with them a longer period can actually help you achieve that. But no, you ace him, in the space of 1 or 2 years, we've had Pesero, we've had Austin Eguavoen, we had Finidi George, and now we had Eric Chelle. I'm talking about the current time. So you see that what the NFF have been doing with the male team hasn't been that good because there is so much involvement. It's not so with the female team because look at it, we even have limited females who want to play football currently. We're still trying to encourage ladies to get into football, right? But in the male category, there are just so many, both at home, diaspora. There are just so many that have interest in playing for the national team. So I think they have to take the blame. This one is on them.
Whereas where you're blaming the NFF, yes, everybody has a fault to play here because I mean this is sober times, as Pastor C or Mr. Sisi the Rabbi said here. Yeah, the coaches to have their own blames in this because I mean you're the ones who's on the pitch, you're the one who's playing the full 90. If you're gambling and your gambling tactics don't work out for you, that's where you start to redress. You can't keep on going in with the same tactics. I mean, we're not here to do like Ruben Amorim, who is sticking to the same tactics week in, week out. If something doesn't work, you address it. If something works, you stick to it until it doesn't work. I mean, you looked at the Chan Eagles, how they disgracefully crashed out. You've seen how the men lost in the finals. Okay, kudos to them for reaching the finals in the first place, but it's not just about reaching a final. You have to have the mental preparation to win a final, and they just didn't have it on the night. The coaches, yes, some people will make some shout outs for Pesero that, okay, he did well, he did this, he did that. But I mean, it's the gambling on the night that made us fail to win the AFCON. Now, when it comes to the Flying Eagles, yes, they've done so well to the part of qualifying for the round of 16. It's not just about qualifying. There's some mental preparations you have to have, both as a manager and for the players as well. Because, I mean, I'm not just trying to blame out to the coaches now. I'm playing out for the players as well. I mean, you don't just wear that national team shirt because, okay, oh, I got the call up. That's the end of the job. You have to do it. If you want to wear this jersey and make this nation proud, you have to go there and give 100% commitment.
How do you feel when a company employs you, or probably you apply for a job and you come for an interview and you see no competitor?
I do my job. It's not my choice.
You'll be more relaxed.
I know. I'll be more relaxed, but I mean, as a professional,
that is exactly what is going on with the national team. As a professional,
you have to still stay professional.
A player like Moses Simon, definitely knows. No matter where he's playing, if he lies, let him come back and play for Kano Pillars. He will definitely get a call up to the national team. Same for, in fact, in recent times, some persons are already making arguments for the sexy guy, Kelechi Iheanacho. Oh, do you think Eric Chelle made a mistake not calling him up because he scored 2 goals in Celtic? That's the reality of Nigeria. Whereas we have plethora of players waiting, eagerly anticipating that we get a call up.
Okay. At this juncture, sorry. While I'm going to allow you to land, I'm going to come in here. You know, I'm playing devil's advocate, even though I'm in a very, very uncomfortable position. You know, stray bullets have been flying left, right, center. As Ruben Amorim collected his own stray bullets, Arsenal collected their own. I don't know. I'm going to see when Chelsea and Barca and the rest of them will collect theirs. But all the same, stray bullets everywhere. That is why we are here at the banter box section, and banter lives here. But I want to look at it from 2 angles now. Yeah. First of all, you know, concerning this argument, you're laying the blame mainly, I don't want to say solely, but mainly at the feet of the administration, the hierarchy up there, the glass house, basically. Yes, and they say that he that is in a glass house should not throw stones. True. So essentially, that's what they're throwing stones. But, you know, at the same time, he that pays the piper dictates the tune. The glass house might be responding to the powers that be, because we know, talk about the interference of government in sports. And most times, let's tell ourselves the truth, it seems as though Nigeria is often guilty of that, where powers that be, who are not in sports administration, have a way of calling the shots, which means the likes of Ibrahim Guzo, the NFF president, may be under pressure to respond to the demands of the powers that be. So I'm just trying to bring a nuance to that argument to see just to try and get you to understand. I'll still come to Emeka's own, because there's another hole I'm picking in your own argument, which you're going to have to fill. Now, please respond to that.
You're correct, right? But why I would not really put it to the powers that be is because now look at the NFF as a body that regulates football. What are they doing to make money for this federation? If you go to other federations in other countries, they have personal, they have a way of generating fund for the national teams, whereby they really do not look at what the government has. The government comes in when it's, okay, we're celebrating. So the government really, although the power that be, really do not have so much influence.
So they are self-sustainable in terms of resources.
But it's not the same here. We're always looking out for, we're either making plans and running to the government, running to the federal government, running to one person or the other to get us money to sponsor our JC, to sponsor this, which is what other federations just do on their own. Thereby, when you make decisions, the government cannot interfere. Okay, if I tell you, give me this phone, and you say no, I will not force you. You will not feel anything, because you know that I will not give you money to subscribe the phone, to subscribe. But if you have to wait for me to subscribe the phone for you, you somehow want to not make me angry.
Yeah, but what about the argument that, I think this argument should have merit, which I would like you to respond to before I come to Emeka. What about the argument that states that, most times, like, I'll always quote my late boss of blessed memory, Mr. Jikatu. He says that the agility of a monkey is determined by the availability of the branches. I'll always quote him because that's a very, very powerful word of wisdom. Now, what of a situation whereby, the argument that an enabling environment either hinders or aids progress and aids the facilitation of those resources, that is the IGRs, internally generated resources on the part of NFF. Could it be that they are stifled? Could it be that they are actually being constrained deliberately so that some people can have a semblance of power? So I'm just trying to make an argument for them. What's your take about that?
Yes, no, I don't think so. And I would not, like I said, I would not entirely subscribe to that. Yes, the federal government generally, as a country, in every sector, right? They have, even the private institutions also have their own issues with the government that be. But they still find a way to make something out for themselves. And for NFF as a body, if you go, okay, for instance, if as an NFF president, you make a proposal to probably a company to sponsor your shirt, I don't think the federal government is not going to come to the pocket of individuals to say you will not buy the product of this company. If a company sponsors a Super Eagles jersey and brings it out and it's fine, Nigerians will want to acquire that jersey. And in turn, it will also boost the revenue base. So for me, I feel like it is sheer laziness as seen in public offices. Like, people do not want to tax their brains. So long as, we know that when it's tournament time, the federal government are going to make available certain amount of fund. FIFA is going to make available for a certain amount of fund. We look at it, it can help us get whatever we want to get. And even some players are being owed. They are not being paid because the federal government hasn't released a fund for that. But it's not supposed to be so. NFF should be sustainable.
Okay. So coming to Emeka now. Your argument is on the other side of the divide, referring to the
blame goes to the players and the
coach. Essentially the coaches, and then the players. Okay, fine. Then also maybe the players. Now, what about a situation like this? Yes, you look at the different coaches that went through, and their performances were quite dismal, which is down to the resources available, down to that same thing.
Yes.
So someone like, I think it was Manu Garba that led the under 17 side.
Yes.
And they almost missed out on that. They didn't do particularly badly, but they crashed out in Yamoussoukro. We saw that happen. It was Ali Zubaru that just recently got battered with the under 20 side. That's the Flying Eagles. Yes. We saw that happen yesterday, unfortunately. It was even Eric Chelle who led the Chan Eagles to Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. Actually, in Zanzibar, that's where they got seriously dealt with. But the argument now could be, most of these managers, of course, maybe with the exception of Eric Chelle, and I'll get to him in a bit to try and defend and see what you say about that. Most of these managers, it is a known fact that most of our indigenous managers do not have a contract. And when you don't have a contract, you already know that you're dispensable. You already know that at the whim and caprice of the powers that be, you could lose your job, even if you're doing well. Somebody just doesn't like your face and then tries to bring up a trumped up charge, you lose your job. They know that. I don't know the full details of Eric Chelle's own contract because he's a foreigner.
Yes,
he's African, but he's a foreigner. So maybe based on that, that's even why someone like Gennaro Rock would battle in court because he had a contract. Eguavoen, to the best of my knowledge, never had a contract. Coach Chris and Chico of blessed memory never had a contract. Shuaib Amoun never had a contract. This man, Stephen Keshi, the big boss, never had a contract. So indigenous managers normally don't have contracts. Now, still getting to the argument for Chelle. Nigeria are about to play tomorrow by 5 p.m. match day 9 in the FIFA World Cup qualifier. So 8 games are played before. Now, Chelle has managed 4 of those 8 games. Half of the games.
Yes.
The other 4 games are managed by 2 managers. You see this talk about 2 good heads better than 1. 2 heads better than 1. It's not always true. Go and look at some currencies and it will tell you the truth. Now, 2 managers in Jose Pizarro and Finidi George could muster 3 points. Eric Chelle mustered 8. He alone got 8 points. He's the only Nigerian manager of Nigeria that picked up 2 wins. You understand? So it will be very. I think it will be very, very harsh to say that Chelle is at fault for what Nigeria is going through. He met a problem, did the best he could to fix that problem, but you're still casting the blame on him because if you're blaming the managers, Chelle is one of the managers. So how do you respond to that?
Okay, let me step in here and address something. Like you said, he inherited the squad when, let's say, pretty much the damage had been done.
Yes.
2 of the previous managers only managed 2 points, while he managed 8. 3 points rather, while he managed 8.
Yes.
Now, it's not all managers that I'm pointing the blame at. So far, Chelle has done well. He has proven that he is here to work. He's here to get the boys where they need to be. But the blame I'm pointing here is at the previous managers. Okay, good and fine. We do not know the contract situation between you and the nation. But if you are a manager with pedigree and you're a manager that knows what their worth is, you come and deliver, leave the paperwork for the paperwork when it is needed to be done. You don't bring that into the pitch. The pitch and the paperwork are 2 separate places. When you have to discuss your contract, you can discuss that behind closed doors. Nobody is going to be there with you. You and the federation will do that by yourselves. But when it comes to the pitch, you have Nigerians coming to watch these games. Sometimes you have Nigerians traveling to other countries. You have we hosting games. Are you going to say that, okay, because you're not being paid or so certain things in the contract have not come into play, you're not going to put out the strong line up there, you're not going to put out the very best to qualify for the tournaments you need to qualify for, you're not going to get yourself into the latter stages of the tournaments you've already qualified for? It doesn't make sense. If you're a manager who has pedigree and class, you leave aside the extras and do your job on the pitch, which means you don't gamble crazy gambling. You do the right tactics. You do what is needed for the team. You assess the game as you see. If you go down by a goal by halftime, you reassess at halftime. You get the boys pumped again, change the tactics, change the mood at the dressing room, get the boys back on the pitch, and they do the work.
How do you do that without motivation? Do you know? You remember what they say that money is the highest kind of motivation.
Good
now,
and fine, yes.
I am done.
Was that quote from a woman? I'm just curious.
So just before you get to that point, there, these are boys who are, and I'm addressing to both the players as well now. Okay. These are people who came and said, okay, we're going to be part of this federation, we're going to be part of this football team, we're going to represent this nation. Now, whether or not the motivation is coming money-wise, we have a commitment to not just the federation.
To show up.
But
which is what we are doing. We won't do that at the detriment of our professional career that is actually paying us more.
Good and fine, I understand the argument. But it is the national pride that we're talking about here.
If as a player,
as a professional, your utmost
I have
responsibility.
An uncle somewhere who, no matter what happens, will find a way to get me into the squad.
Okay, now you're addressing the issue of tokenism. I don't want to open up a can of worms.
I've been trying to avoid that.
I can just,
but
feel
now,
free to do anything.
Let me just end my point here now. Because when you say you want to represent the nation, you've played for your certain clubs and it's time for the international call-ups. Everybody's doing their best for their club side to warrant a spot in the national team. Now, you've been given that shout over many other people who probably have deserved it over you. And now you want to tell me you don't want to play for the shirt. The manager comes and gives a lukewarm team, puts out some crazy ass tactics. I'm sorry for my language. That was just a slip of tongue. You see some crazy gamblings that you don't understand in the modern day football. And you're wondering, is this what this nation is putting out? Because I mean, if we're a serious nation that wants to qualify for the World Cup, you're putting out tactics that you know these players are not going to give you the 100% that you need to qualify. Why call them up in the first place? I'm throwing that to the managers. Why call up these players? Why do this? Why do that? Leave the motivation aside. Motivate yourself first before you deserve the motivation.
Okay, good. So why call up this? Why call up that? What if you are only allowed to choose between certain players to call them up?
What if you're given a list?
What if you're given a list to make your selection from the list?
It's now down to you as the manager. You know these boys. You know the squad you have at your disposal. You know who you can call up. If the list isn't favorable for you, you speak out. Then if the federation don't do anything else, you know you've done your part. I mean, you don't just sit back and accept, okay, lukewarm boys and say, okay, I'll make a mountain out of a molehill with the boys I have. You have to be vocal. I've not seen any manager that is vocal about team selections if he knows these team selections are not going to be favorable for him. I mean,
do you see the contracts of these managers?
Well, like I said, the contracts isn't what is important for us.
No, it is important. It is important.
It's important
you talked
for
about
them.
Speaking out. Now let me give you an instance. When Jose Peseiro was still as the national team coach, right? I remember the game we had was Guinea-Bissau that defeated us at Abuja. Yeah?
Yeah, 1-0.
Yes. During the pre-conference, the pre-match conference, remember he was asked concerning his contract, NFF owing him, and all of those. Do you know his reply? You could just see a reply of someone who is trying to be patriotic to their employer. Say, it's not your business. It's me and the people who employ
That's
me.
classic diplomacy. That's what I was blaming.
So,
that is the type of thing I'm calling
and you will not
for,
blame them for that, right?
That does that.
Now, if the NFF are sincere and transparent enough to lay out these contracts for the general public to see, then it will give the managers, like you said, the power to speak out when necessary.
Okay.
Because we don't know what's hidden in those contracts.
Let me just say this before you.
Just tidy up because that speak out was my prompt to speak out in this matter.
All right, now let me say this and let me make it clear. Yeah. If you have a problem with the NFF as a manager, first do your part. If the NFF consistently fail you and fail the federation as a whole, leave it for the public, the football public, to call for a reassessment of the NFF board. That's not for you to do. Do your part first. If you're doing your part, then we can make excuses for you. If the players and the managers aren't doing their parts, how are we going to blame the NFF for not doing theirs if they're not doing theirs as well?
Okay, it's so wonderful to know that most times in this part of the world, such calls fall on deaf ears. But we know about that. Anyway. Let's give that.
I wanted to
the last time a coach managed an African side to the World Cup, or rather was about to manage an African side to the World Cup, and this issue came up. We know what became of that coach who stuck to his guns, Vahid, remember, of Morocco, concerning Hakim Ziyech. But I digress. Okay, all the same, we're going to go on a very short break. We have one more topic to touch very briefly before we end this show. Really, it's neither here nor there regarding the decline state of affairs in male football in Nigeria. But when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. Remember, all eyes will be on Polokwane tomorrow by 5 p.m. to see if the Super Eagles of Nigeria will justify that moniker, Super, in the Eagles. We'll be right back after this message. Welcome back to the final leg of this AFIA Sports Banter Box on AFIA TV, channel 254 DSTV, channel 748 Free TV, channel 17 Go TV. And we are here with the gang, of course, as usual. We have Emeka Maduka, the priest of football here, who has been talking about the issue concerning the state of affairs in male football in Nigeria, and he's laying the blame mainly at the feet of the coaches. Yes, we've talked about that. Then we have, of course, Queen Choma Chikeze here, who has been speaking in a very, very unflattering manner concerning the management, the hierarchy, the NFF, because they are the ones that call the shots when it comes to appointments. Yeah. So we get the angle, but it's neither here nor there. But we have another thing to talk about today, and it's still along the lines of male football, but this time the senior male football. Now, a report which has not been substantiated yet, at least for me. We will verify the authenticity of that report. There is a report stating that if Eric Chelle, the current manager of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, fails to qualify Nigeria for the World Cup with the state of affairs from tomorrow and then, of course, on Tuesday, when Nigeria meets Benin Republic in Uyo. If Nigeria fails to qualify for the World Cup, then Eric Chelle's job is at stake. And then there is a report that Eric Chelle will be replaced by the former, or should I say former manager of Super Eagles of Nigeria and technical advisor Austin Eguavoen, Cerezo himself, making it his 5th stint in management in the Super Eagles setup. So the question is very, very clear. Should Eric Chelle be replaced by Eguavoen? Now, it's from 2 angles right now. First of all, we've talked about this, but I would like to, in the next few minutes, you to address the issue. Has Chelle done enough to warrant being sacked? Did he fail? Then secondly, come from the angle of the replacement, potential replacement. Should Eguavoen be given an opportunity to rebuild? Because this is actually the rebuilding. There is an African Cup of Nations that is still waiting from December to January. It's still waiting. So Nigeria is meant to be part of that. So should he be given the opportunity to rebuild? Or is it a case of him being part of the rot that Nigeria has gone through up to this point? So really, those are the 2 angles I want to come from. So do we start with Queen again? We started with you the last time. So Emeka, over to you. Give us your points very, very quickly because we have little time.
Okay, so basically the simple truth is that when it comes to Eric Chelle, the Malian Nigerian manager,
for the record, he's from Mali. He's not Malian. So please, let's take note.
Okay. Now, he hasn't done so badly since he's come in, but I mean, he could have done better. And obviously, it's still not down to his fault that we are at where we are. The previous managers didn't hold their head up in glory. And we found ourselves in this position where we have to grab maximum of 6 points from our last 2 games, which starts tomorrow. Now, I've seen a lot of improvement in the squad since Chelle has taken over, but there's still some criticisms I have over his style of play. And I hope he is listening right now because this will be important, taking tips. When you're drawing up a strong lineup, don't base it too defensive. Nigeria is not a structured team where it's all out defense that we play in our setup tactically. We have a blend of from defense to attack, then that's how we score goals, that's how we defend. But I've seen more of the defensive setup and less of the attacking setup form with Eric Chelle. And with these call-ups that he's made this time around, I've seen more of an attacking front on that lineup call-up, and I'm really hoping that he can find a blend. Because if you're going for an attacking setup, you still have to find a way to balance out the defense. And if he's not able to balance that out, then I do see his time coming to an end. Because the NFF might be unforgiving. And yes, some might say he's done poorly, he's not gotten maximum points he should have gotten from the games. I would say Chelle hasn't done too bad, he hasn't done too good. Just win your last 2 games, then you can be able to defend yourself. If not, Eguavoen, welcome. I guess that's the appropriate thing to say.
Okay, so your point is noted, but we need to hear a rebuttal, obviously, from Queen. Go ahead, please.
You know, it's quite funny and laughable when when we mention we want to sack Eric Chelle, I was saying we bring in Eguavoen. It's quite funny. First of all, look at what Eric Chelle has been able to do. Let's even go back to when he took this job. We're already in a very precarious situation as regards the World Cup qualification. We were already 4 games, 3 points before he came in. In fact, personally, I didn't even think that the NFL should be looking at his performance at the World Cup qualifiers. He's managed 11 games so far for Nigeria. He has won 6 of those games. He has drawn 3 and he has lost 2 of those games. That's, for me, that's quite impressive. And you look at the way he has played, even in these upcoming qualifiers, whatever happens, he will not still put it down to Eric Chelle. Our players are out injured. Most of our defenders are out injured. Most of our midfielders are out injured. Onyedika even the last guy that left injured after during the game before the eventual call-up. His name was already there before that injury happened. So Ola Aina is not there. So who would you bring in? And then you talk about midfield creativity in the midfield. Who do we have to even, except we were saying, okay, let's bring in someone who has never been called up to the national team before now. But if we look at the players that are within our reach, there is nobody in that midfield that could bring creativity. Maybe he can change the way Iwobi plays, right? Yeah, but saying he should be let go now and bring in Eguavoen, and we have AFCON to prepare for, which is even around the corner, December, I think December 21st or 25th, thereabout. We are getting into the AFCON, and you want to bring a new coach, somebody that says that you ask, so what's your tactics as a coach? He tells you, you know Pep Guardiola? I like his style. Like, that's the person who managed the likes of Victor Osimhen and all of these boys and what they've been doing with their various clubs. I don't think so. Personally, I feel like whatever happens, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Let's see these two last games as preparation for AFCON. Whatever happens, we win, fine. We don't win, we come back home. The deed has already been done. There are nations who didn't qualify for World Cup. They go back, build back, and come back better. It's not our birthright. It is not. If Brazil cannot claim birthrights to World Cup qualifications, the likes of Italy, France, countries that have won it over and over cannot lay claims to qualification, Nigeria shouldn't. I know, yeah, we are giant of Africa. We have so much love for football and all, but it is time to face the real business. We need to give coaches time. Enough of this chop and change and bringing in Eguavoen. You don't even say someone like maybe bring back Samson Siesa or beg Sunday Olise to come in and handle these boys and all. You're calling Eguavoen of all people.
You lost me at beg Sunday Olise. The Pep Guardiola of Africa. Self-proclaimed, or no, not self-proclaimed. Actually, no, it wasn't the one that said that. It was Amaju Pinnick that said that.
That said he's the
himself was the Pep Guardiola of Africa. Man, we don't see things for this. But anyway, that notwithstanding, you know, let's just round up things this way. There is merit to your argument on both sides. First of all, the issue of the male football, a decline. I think we'll just sum it up this way. What we need to do as a nation, whether it's once we have we're stock with the shareholders actually in the footballing ecosystem in Nigeria, whether we are for those who are on the pitch, those who are in the dugout, those who are in the office, that is the administrative office, the glass house, those who are the fans, the fan base, whoever you are, as long as you're playing a part and you're a stakeholder in Nigerian football, I think that we need to spend less time fixing the blame and spend more time fixing the problem.
Yes.
We need to agree that there has to be a rebuild. Yes. First, let's tell ourselves that there is a problem. There is a problem. The system in Nigeria, especially with the male setup, whether it's the Golden Eaglets or the Flying Eagles or even the Dream Team or the Super Eagles, is fundamentally flawed. Let's find out the problem and then solve it once and for all. That's the first thing. Then, of course, the issue of Eric Chelle versus Eguavoen. Every manager, has his own flaws and has his own advantages. And I think all I'll say is this, without trying to undermine any of the managers, all I'll say is this: the sooner the Nigerian Football Federation focuses on continuity, the better. And normally when there's continuity, you have to understand that there must be a sequence of events. You also have to let people understand the philosophy of the manager and management and follow that philosophy, come rain, come sunshine. And eventually, if you stick to your guns, you will get the job done.
Finally, let me just add to it. Now, in regards to what you're saying, knowing that there is a problem, that is why personally, it's not like I am not being unpatriotic, but I am personally happy that we are going through this trajectory. Because what I have noticed over the years is that one win and those in the glass house are beginning to sing their praises and it looks like everything is okay. So now that we're having sequence of failures from the youth rank up to the senior level, I think it will give them time to sit back and reflect and understand that, it's no longer business as usual. Okay, and then deal with the sense of entitlement that we have. After, the truth is this: it's not a birthright. Qualifying for the World Cup is not a birthright. It could be a reset. It just could be.
On the part of continuity, like you said. there cannot be continuity when you know there is a manager and a set of team giving you reasons to continue with that process. If the process isn't working, even after multiple backups, I mean, you have to eventually put a halt to it and try something new.
Okay.
So, I mean, yes, we should promote continuity in the setup, but if you watch it with time and it doesn't go as planned, reassess and opt for something new.
Okay. Words of wisdom. So either way, we just need to get to the drawing board and find out what's wrong. Sometimes it might even be the drawing board that's wrong. But all the same, thank you very much. Emeka Madoka, Prince of Football.
Thank you
for your contribution. Queen Chioma Chikeze, it's a great time, of course, and a pleasure to always have you here. And of course, and I want to thank everybody who was involved in the success of the AFIA Sports Banter Box. There was not so much violence on the set today. Blood didn't flow the way I would have loved to see it flow. Figuratively, please, before you come for me. But it was a great pleasure to have you all. Thank you very much to the floor managers, the producers, the content creators, everybody who's involved, the MCR, PCR, those in the room upstairs. I'll call you the upper room, upper room people who have been making things happen here. We would not be able to do this without you. So thank you very much. And thank you, our viewers who've been watching from around the world. Thank you for being with us on AFIA TV. This has been the Banter Box on Thursday, every Thursday. So next Thursday, believe me, next Thursday is going to be very, very exciting because we're going to go on a journey concerning our national teams. I won't tell you more than that, but you don't want to miss this next Thursday by 5 p.m. But tomorrow, we are going to be back here on TV by 5 p.m. for the AFIA Sports Preview Show, where we're going to be looking at issues. And it's going to be a special and, should I say, an emotional one for us because when we start the show tomorrow, will be the same time Nigeria start the game against Lesotho. So we will have real-time scores and we'll be getting our reflections while we're discussing the other things we'll discuss. Thank you for being with us on the AFIA Sports Banter Box. It has been a pleasure. I'm Sisi the Rabbi, and I'm signing out.